Good evening. Oh, Jean. Good evening, my lovely. Oh, I'm sorry you're feeling a bit poorly. Oh my goodness, you can do without that. Oh, good evening, Philippa. Thank you for coming in, and I'm sure you're going to advise on any questions for me. Thank you. Well, it's been a glorious day. It has been in Lincolnshire. What's it been like with you, Philippa? I was going to come down and take Brian out for a walk, like he said this morning, but, you know, I'm not sure. Good evening, Tracy. Oh, thank you for coming to see us. Just saying what a lovely day it's been. Hope it has been with everybody. I can't believe how this event's... Oh, good evening, Jax. Hi, Yvonne. Thank you. Thank you, Yvonne. Yeah, it was funny, actually, Philippa. I did have to actually have a little titter to myself, and I thought, I'm not sure if I'm going to get down there in time before the sun goes down, actually, from Lincolnshire to Portsmouth, Southampton. Ah, good evening, Gail. Been gorgeous in your East Yorkshire. Fabulous. It was lovely to see the sun, and I think it just will cheer everybody up for a few more days. Oh, hi, Jean. Oh, lovely to see you, Jax. So, oh, Pat, good evening. Oh, Pat.
Hello, Pat.
Hi, Pat. West Sussex. Yeah. I don't know why I want to say Southampton. Beverly, good evening. Andreen, hello, lovely. How are you? Leslie, hello. Oh, we get a lovely few in. So, we are... I should have cleaned my glasses before we came on. Because I can see, just a minute, they're whizzing past me, Mark. I'm missing people, sorry. Yvonne, saying we have a frost. Oh, hi, Heather. Do you know, when we have a frost, though, in the morning or at night, hi, Anne, then we tend to have a nice day afterwards, don't we? Good, I'm pleased you're okay, Andreen. Good, that's what we like to hear. So, we've got a good few in, so I'm going to crack on. Because I've got this this card to show you this evening, that I'm do you know, I'll be honest with you, when good evening, Anne. When I did it a little while ago, when we were doing some of the Christmas design team projects. Oh, good evening, Gemma. I did this, and I hadn't done this technique for such a long time. And I did enjoy doing it. And then Julie said, oh, would you like to do it for the Christmas countdown? So I said, yes, absolutely. Thank you. You're going to get double bubble from me this week. You're going, good evening, Kathleen. You've a double bubble. Oh, I've had double bubble today with some people. Sorry, yeah, it's a busy old week. Good evening, Aileen. Yes, I've had a morning live this morning with That's Crafty. I know some of you was with me there, which was lovely, thank you. And so it was all painty and messy on that one. I've tried to clean my hands as best I can. Yeah, they're quite clean, very clean. Good evening, Caroline. Good evening, Susie. Oh, lovely, we've got a super lot in. Gemma, oh, that's so smashing. Say, everybody's saying hello to each other. Have a nice natter to each other. It's really nice, isn't it? So that's what we're going to do. I'll show you in a second. So I'm back with you on Thursday using some of Emma's, Vicky, Penny, smashing. Now I have got Mark with me this evening, mostly on an evening. Mark's here with me. It's not the fire alarm, don't worry. It's Mark's Libra, pipping. I don't know whether you've got one, Philippa, but yeah. Good evening, Sharon. Good evening. Right, lovely. So, fantastic. Thank you so much for everybody joining me. Now, Julie can't make it this evening, so she sends her apologies, but she's going to. She's got some lovely family time this evening, and so she's going to go back on catch up. So we've all got to behave without her. Yeah. When the mice, what do they say? When the boss is away. Oh, when the cat's away, the mice will play. Philippa. Did you recognise that sound, Philippa? Yeah. You have got one then, yes. Yeah. And I know that I am absolutely sure that Brian thinks that it's amazing too, because I know I do. Anyway, that's another chat for another night. Right, so I'm going to turn the camera around and we'll have a little look at the project, because I have done it again, because the one that I made did go off to Julie, so I don't know if anybody's received it or not. Let me know if you have, but I have done another one. So we'll just turn you round. Lovely. And should be okay, good to go. Oh yeah, just it looks a little bit on the are we on the tilt, or is it just the way that I'm looking? That's it, smashing. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay, see me okay. It's in the middle of the page, and yeah, lovely. Okie dokie. So you can see this is the project. The idea of this evening is to first of all do a Christmas card, because it's the Christmas countdown, which I think is lovely. I thoroughly enjoyed it last year, and I know that we've all enjoyed it this year as well. It gives us the opportunity to pass on some of the projects that we've made for the Christmas releases, to give you some ideas of what to do, or just to really maybe just a few techniques or whatever, and then you can then take them forward and use them as you wish. And of course, this doesn't just have to be a Christmas card. I don't mean the actual this actual card itself, but the technique. You can use this technique for all occasion cards. But this one, I must admit, if you took the red glitter card away, this could quite easily be a winter birthday card as well, because it doesn't actually say anything Christmas on it. I mean, what you could do is, instead of putting the peace, love and joy down the side, you can maybe use one of the vertical birthday greetings, which would be lovely. And I think we slightly not forget people that got birthdays around Christmas, but they seem to get maybe pushed to one side a little bit for our Christmas cards. So it is something that is quite lovely to be able to do. So I'll talk about the stamps that I'm using. There's just 2 sets that I'm actually using this evening. Oh no, sorry, 3. I'll talk about this one first. This is the Christmas vertical greetings. So that one does also have, as well as peace, love and joy, we also have, I'll turn it around so we can actually see it the right way around, Merry and Bright, Happy Christmas, Let It Snow, and also Merry Christmas, which is fabulous. I think it's really great to have vertical as well as horizontal greetings, because they do go really well with certain projects, don't they? And a horizontal greeting would not have gone onto this card very well at all. So by putting this piece on the side, I think that's actually, it's worked really well. So that's where that has come from. I've also used Hazel's Essential Christmas one, which is actually the snowflakes, and that's the globe, the Christmas globe, and that's snowflake from that. But of course, snowflakes we've had on various sets, and Emma's just had obviously we've just had Emma's fantastic Christmas launch as well, which had a snowflake on it, so you could use that. The other set, which is actually quite an important set, is the trees and the deer are from Hazel's Essential Christmas Too. So, which we're all familiar with. They were last year's launch around Christmas time, but I know that they've been available from stockists this year as well, because they're just I think they'll just carry on. They're a generic Christmas stamp set. So this is the project. So we will only be doing the one because there's a little bit of time involved, and I didn't want to rush it and do two, because I wanted to go nice and steady so that everybody could see what we were doing. Now, the card blank itself, I've actually made the card blank. I do quite like making this particular card blank because it's just a little bit different to the squares that I tend to pick up, or just the half A4 or whatever. And it's quite nice to be able to have that vertical greeting. So, what it is actually you get it out of one piece of A4. I've used this gorgeous I call it forest green, pine green. It's just that some that we have in our pick and mix. So you need two pieces, but it does come out of an A4 piece. You're going to have the horizontal is actually just the actual width of an A4, and then the vertical measurement is I've got that one. I haven't got that one written down. There we go. I've got everything else. That's 5. Of course it is. I don't know why I didn't think of that. It's 5 inches by the actual width of the A4 cardstock. So you don't actually have to measure that one. Just pop your cardstock in and measure 5, cut it, and measure another 5 inches and cut it, and then you've got the 2 pieces that you need. You're only going to score the top piece. You don't score the bottom piece, okay? You're going to score the top piece, and you're going to score that. Now, if you've got the pretty bog standard scoring boards, now excuse this because it is as old, I won't say as old as I am because that's not possible. We didn't have them then, but it's as old as the hills, and it's been a bit faded, but do you know what? It does the job and it's absolutely fine. I've scored it actually on the second score line. The first score line isn't quite big enough, so the second score line, and that actually is, I'll put my ruler against it so that you can see, it's actually 1.2 inches. So it's 2 marks off the 1 inch line. But if you want to make it easier, just do the first line. But these are pretty standard. I know if you've got hoogie board, obviously you can go very, very exact. But if you've got one like this, I actually do it from there. Okay, so hopefully that's explained that. And all we're going to do is, just put that to one side, is we're just going to hold that over, just give it a little burnish. This is a really strong cardstock actually. I would think it's over 300 GSM. It's a really super duper one. And all you're going to do then is you're just going to glue or tape, whichever. I'll go this way because it's nice and neat. Whichever way, but just glue this down like so, and pop it, line it up, and just score it there. It is, like I say, it's a nice shaped card blank, something a little bit different. Okay. The other thing that you can do, which I think is rather nice, is when you put an extra piece on here, you can use this little margin, what I call a margin bit, to actually wrap your ribbon round, wrap some twine round and things like that, and then you can bring it into the middle. So that's a nice little section for putting your ribbon on if you actually want it to. Okay, so what we're going to do first, before we do anything else, is actually just stick these little bits down onto here, and then they'll be just sticking down, and then we'll get on with our stamping. So I've got a piece of a red glitter card, all I'm doing is I'm just following on from the way that I've matted and layered in the main section. Okay, now I know I'm gluing it onto glitter card, but this particular glue, and I've chosen this one tonight, I normally use my That's Crafty multi-purpose. I'm just using the very tacky Pentart glue because it does actually stick really lovely onto glitter card, which is fabulous, and it saves you red tape a little bit as well if you can get a glue that sticks. So I'm just going to leave that, and we'll do our stamping part in a few minutes. I just wanted that to be sat and actually glued down. Right, so we're now going to take the piece of white smooth. So the red, I didn't give you the measurement for the red. The red glitter card that actually goes into the main part of the card is actually 7 inches by 4 3/4, so it's just a little bit less than the 5. And then of course the piece on top which is white smooth, just white smooth stamping card. As long as it will blend really nicely with your inks, that is fine. Okay, and that measurement is just 1/4 inch less than the top, so it's 6 3/4 by 4 1/2. Okay, but you'll figure that one out when you're putting it all together. But as long as you've got the main base of the cards and the top one is actually scored. Righty-ho, so any questions? And obviously Philippa and Tracy are here if I don't see them, and maybe if Mark sees them, he will be able to shout them across at me. Okay, so what we need to do first is obviously take the white smooth card, and we actually need to just take a pencil, and we're going to just roughly, you don't need a ruler for this honestly, because if you add a ruler it's going to be too straight. What you want to do is, now the biggest stamp that I've got is actually this tree. We're using the small deer. Okay, the big deer is far too big because this tree is too small for the big deer. It's fine if you're going to do it in a distance and the deer is a lot forward, okay, for when you're stamping on other projects. But for this, you can't really put the big deer and then this tree next to it, because it looks like the deer has been having a lot of Christmas pudding. So you need to use the small deer. Okay, so you take your biggest stamp roughly and you just offer it up and see basically where it's going to go, where the actual tree trunk is going to go, and it's roughly about here. You know, and if the tree goes over the top, you just chop a bit of the tree off. It really doesn't matter because it's the reflection, it's not the main bit. So you will see that actually you've got a little bit more space on here than at the bottom. So if we say, I mean, if I know some people like measurements, but I don't do measurements, I just sort of like guess a bit really. So it's just under 2.5 inches from the top down. Alright, and all we're going to do is roughly, and I'm purposely not going straight because I don't want a straight bank of the river that the trees and the deer are standing on. Okay, so that's, take your biggest stamp, use that as your guide roughly. Okay, so don't worry about this, it's very light, don't go heavy handed on it, and also don't go in with your pen just yet because you're going to do that afterwards. But with the pencil you've got a little bit of movability. Alright, you've got a little bit of leeway, forgiving and all that business, which is quite good. Right, so what we need to do first is we need to get the colour down. So let me just move my Versafine Clairs. Now I'm using the Distress family. I'm using a variety. I'm actually using some oxide, I'm using some of the ordinary Distress because, to be quite honest, it doesn't really matter. But I've picked the colours that I wanted to pick, and to be honest, I think they were just the first ones that I got. So the colours are important though. So you want some colours you need a blue. It doesn't have to be broken china, but broken china is quite a nice blue to use because you can bring it a little bit darker if you want to. If you chose, I think faded jeans is far too stormy, unless of course you want a stormy look. We don't really want a stormy look because we're going to put a little bit of snow on it, and normally when it's snowing it's bright, isn't it, and we don't really want it too stormy. Some of the other blues are much too blue, and they'll be really quite heavy on here, so if you can, go with broken china. Okay, the other colours in the sky, we're using spice marmalade, and I've got a fossilised amber. Now I did initially pick up oh my gosh, what's the other yellow one, the bright yellow one? Let me just turn myself around because I've got my inks on the wall. I can't remember what it is. I'll remember tonight when I'm not thinking about it. It's the bright one. I'm sure somebody will shout it out. The bright yellow, which is, it's not lemonade, because lemonade's very, very nice, but it's not strong enough. It's the one in between. So fossilised amber is the one that I've chosen. So what we need to do first is we need to get some blue on. Alright, so I'm using brushes. You know what you like. Okay, just get some on your brush, but take quite a lot of it off. Alright, so we don't want it overpowered. Now the idea is that it's going to be obviously stronger on the top than what it is on the bottom. Everything is diffused at the bottom because of the water. Alright, so we're going to do the top first, and we're just going to leave a little tiny bit of a gap there because we want our moon there, and then we're going to turn it round. Now that's where you can see my cut spoon. Take that off there, look. I'll trim that later, tidy that up later.
Mustard seed.
Thank you. Who was that?
Tracy and Shelley.
Thank you ever so much. Oh, hi Shelley. Didn't you have enough of me this morning, Shell? Right, okay, so I've turned it around. I'm using a piece of scrap paper purely because I don't want to get my finger marks. I don't want to get sweaty marks on it. I don't want to get anything oily or anything on it. And then I'm very, very, very lightly.
Oh, we've got a good morning from Wendy in Melbourne.
Oh, hello Wendy. Of course it will be morning now. Oh, Wendy, my Auntie Jill has just emigrated to Australia. Oh, whereabouts has she gone? If my mum's watching, my mum will be able to tell you. She's 81 years old. She absolutely does not look a day over 70. She's amazing, and she's gone to live out in Australia to be with her son, daughter-in-law, and her lovely, lovely granddaughter. Isn't that smashing? 81 years old. I think that's amazing. Gosh. Anyway, there we go. So heavier on the top, much lighter on the bottom, and each one just do the top and then do the bottom, do the top then, because what you're also wanting to do obviously is mirror image. It's not absolutely massively essential with the colours, but it does need to roughly look the same. But this part needs to look the same, and this is actually the sun coming down. All right, so roughly, you don't have to do it halfway, but if you want, I've just got a smaller brush now using the fossilised amber, just with a circle. You don't need to have a mask. I mean, you will see me sometimes using a mask for other things, but for this you don't, because you don't particularly want an absolutely perfect sun as it comes down. That will be fine. If I want to build any more onto that, then I can do. So turn it round. Of course, this is the bottom now. So we roughly, you don't need to be measuring. So if you, it's no good saying my finger, because my fingers might be bigger or longer or whatever than yours, but roughly there. And again, very, very, very light. It's just a hint. And again, it doesn't need to be perfectly round, because you're not going to get anything that's perfect in water anyway, are you? Because it sort of like diffuses out, doesn't it? So if you do get a little bit slightly heavier in the middle, tiny bit less going around the outside, that's actually quite nice. So now we've got our main piece. So we've got our blue in, we've got our actual main piece, which is actually the sun going down. And then I'm going to take a little bit of spice marmalade. Now this spice marmalade is a little bit juicy, so I want to take some off of that. So now the spice marmalade, we want to start over here. Now of course when you put oranges and blues together, you're going to get a nice turquoisey green, which is quite nice. And it reminds me of some of the stunning skies that we've had of late. Oh, we've not been lucky enough to actually see the Northern Lights, although they have been noticeable, very noticeable around Lincolnshire, but it appears that every time it actually does show itself, we're asleep. So we've not actually seen them. I know Shelley has, because she took some stunning photographs, but we haven't been lucky enough. So we're going to have to just imagine how lovely they look. Right, so now at this point you may go over, when you're going across like this, I'm going very lightly, you may go over your pencil line. Don't worry about that, because you're going to go over onto the other side with this colour anyway, so it really doesn't matter. Alright, so just doing that. I feel like I need a little bit more blue, but of course we can add a little bit wherever we want, that's not a problem. And you can add, the trouble is though, you can't take it away. That's the only problem. So just be little baby steps with it really. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. Tiny bit more over here. That's enough. And then the orange, just a little bit more going across here, because this is where our trees, obviously our main trees and our main deer is going to be. So of course we've had all the deer jokes from Mark. I'm sure if Brian's watching, I'm sure we'll be getting them from Brian as well.
Yeah.
Oh dear, yeah. I've no idea. Is that the deer with one eye? I've no idea, or something. No.
Something like that.
Oh, something like this. Yeah. You see, you'll learn very quickly. I am rubbish. Absolutely rubbish when it comes to remembering jokes. But they're very much a cracker joke, aren't they, the deers? Right. Am I a little bit more on that sun at the bottom, I think? That's enough, don't want any more. A little bit more blue. I think, yeah, I'm happy with that. You really need to get it as right as you can at this point, because once you've got your stamping done, you don't really want to be and you could, it's not an absolute no-no, but you don't really want to be starting to add colour on top of your lovely stamping, because that's going to diffuse it quite a bit. Now what we're going to do is we're going to very lightly just run a little bit of dark. Now it could be ground espresso, it could be this black soot that I've got is quite an old one, and that's why I've got this one. Just run it through the middle. Don't be thinking, oh, I don't really want it, you know, it looks a bit odd, but actually it won't. What you want is, you want a little bit of, it's to create a bit of misty sort of an appearance, really. I'm not getting all arty-farty or anything like that, but I do think that if you can add little tiny bits of atmospheric sort of bits, then do. Right, so we've still got our line. I can still see the line. You may not be able to, but I know that I can. All right, so we are going to start doing our stamping. Okay, so I'm using versifying clay. I've actually got two versifying clays. One's slightly better than the other. I get through versifying clays like nobody's business. Well, I don't get through them. I obviously redo them, re-ink them, but yeah. Right, so the first thing that we're going to do, I'll just bring the original one in. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to place our deers, okay? So I want 2 deers, and I want them pretty much, as best you can, standing on that pencil line. Okay, there you go. You can't see the pencil line, I promise you I can. You don't want to see the pencil line from where you are. I don't want you to, because it will mean that it's a little bit too it's a bit too heavy. Okay, I think I'm going to use the other one. Yeah, use this one. Right, so we'll put this one. Should we do it to the right, to the left? I'm going to do it to the right. There you go. So like I say, this is a little bit forgiving because you're going to put the black pen underneath at the end anyway, so if you need to go a little bit like that, it's hilly. God, it's a riverbank. Artistic licence and all that. Right, I'm just going to wipe this stamp off when I need it in a minute. We're going to do all our top layer first, and then we'll do our bottom layers. Right, so I'm taking the largest of the single trees. Now there is a set of trees. Let me just bring the actual stamps in. There is another set of trees here, but this actually works better with single stamps, in my personal opinion. You don't have to use single stamps. If you want to use the triple one or whatever, then you do. I personally think it's better to build up using single stamps. I just stopped talking then. I couldn't do two things at once, which is most unusual.
That's serious, if you've got to stop talking. Good blimey.
There's our lovely tree. Now, what we're going to do is, we're actually going to make this next tree a bit taller. And we're going to overlap it slightly. No 2 reflection cards will ever look the same, by the way. I just thought I would warn you. I don't tend to put the stamps in the same place because I think it's nice to make changes. And also, and you're thinking, well, that's gone way, way above the bank. But actually, I'll show you in a second what I'm going to do. All right. So we've got one more of these. I think we'll put that one just there. So we can alter the height and everything of the trees. Then what we do is, because that I'm going to put the paper roughly where the bank is, because you can see where the deer are is the bank. So what we're going to do is we're just going to extend that just like that. Alright, so that tree is a little bit taller. We don't want them like lined up like soldiers, because it's not very often that you actually see trees like that, is it? Well, they maybe are when they first are actually planted, because they all look like little soldiers, don't they? But they don't tend to grow all the same, do they? Well, they don't grow like that round here. Right, so we want a few more on this side, not as many. So at the moment we're putting the large trees on, and then we'll go in. So this one I'm going to make quite a bit taller, because these are a lot of Weetabix, or shredded wheat, whatever, with warm milk because it's winter. Right, and just extend it a little bit. So you're not going to notice, are you? You don't actually notice. And don't be too fussy about how you do it, because it just needs sketching in, and all it is a fine liner. Just this one is a 0.6, but 0.5, whatever, as long as it's not too thick, you know. If it's too thick, it's just going to look wrong. So at the moment we've finished with that tree, and now I'm bringing in the little tree, which is the same type of tree, but we're going to just place that one. So these are in the front, they're in the back, and these are in the front. And it's important to remember, just got a bit of overstamp there, where you have actually placed, in what order you placed your stamps, alright? If you want to get it really accurate. Right, should we do, I'm going to do one just going off the page there, because I think that would be quite nice. So when you see that layout, yeah, I like that. So, has anybody got any questions yet, or are you just seeing how it goes? Has anybody else played around with doing something like this, or first time you've seen it, or you think, well, you're just stamping at the moment, which I am, and I'll just lift that up a little bit. Let's have a little bit of a taller little tree there, and then again, roughly using the edge of that paper, bring in the trunks. Now you'll notice with the smaller tree, they're a tiny bit thick, tiny weeny bit thicker. So just be aware of that. Alright, okay, so yeah, I'm happy with that amount of trees. I think it looks a really nice forest. Now what we're going to do is we are going to do our reflections. I'm sure you all know how this is done. There's two ways of doing this. Right, so you can't just take Mr. Deer here, Derek the deer, stamp him up and turn him round.
No, what?
No, it's not as easy as that, Mark. If we did that, his front is obviously the opposite way round, because it's if you turn anything over, it's going to be the opposite way round. If it's what do you call it when it's equal?
It's equal.
You know when a pattern is equal on both sides. Somebody tell me the word I'm trying to think of. When it's symmetrical. Got it.
I don't know big words.
Symmetrical. Yes, he does. He's making out that he doesn't. Symmetrical. If a stamp was symmetrical, absolutely perfect, one side to the other, everything about it, if you just put half and it's exactly the same, you wouldn't need to do this, because you could just literally turn it over and it would be a reflection. But these aren't, are they? They're obviously not. So what you need to do is you need to reverse it, and the way that you do that, there's two ways of doing it. You can do it with a brayer. Well, my brayer's over there, but I'm not going to do it with a brayer tonight, because I want to show you a much easier way, and a way that anybody can do it. It's just with a piece of acetate. Okay, so what you're going to do is we're going to go exactly the same how we did the trees, how we did the stamping in the way that we did it in the first place. Okay, so we're going to take the first one, which was the deer, and we're going to then, let me just move it there. Can we see the actual acetate when I'm going to stamp it onto, or do I need to pull it over a little bit? Is that more in the middle?
Yeah, see it.
Yeah. So piece of acetate there, and we're going to stamp on the piece of acetate. Now, acetate is skiddy. Oh, I know. I did actually skid that while I was talking. So let me just wipe that. See, we can do that. It's not a problem. If you did just slightly move it. Right. There. Fabulous. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn it over. So we've stamped on there, we're turning it over. I've got a bone folder here. Anything that's smooth to rub something with. And you're going to place it, hopefully you can see this, you're going to place it not right up to the hooves, you're going to place it just below the hooves. Alright, hopefully you can see that.
Yep.
And then holding it with this hand, please, this is the bit you need to be careful. Hold it nice and tight with this hand, these fingers, and take your bone folder. Now you can do it with your finger if you want. I find that when you do it with your finger, it's more likely to actually move. Just give it a little rub. You know when you're doing rub-ons, and they've come right back again, haven't they? They're very popular. When you're doing rub-ons, just do it like that, and then pick that up, and then you've got a shadow. Then you wipe your acetate and dry it off, and you do the same for the second one.
Ooh.
You do the sound effects?
Yeah.
Oh, did you hear that, everybody? Mark's doing sound effects. Hopefully everybody else thinks the same, you know. Right, so now we're going to do the second one, obviously. We're going to do exactly the same. You're going to place it just beyond the hooves. And you're going to...
Everybody thinks that's ace.
Do you think, is everybody getting it? Because it's I love it. I absolutely love it. And everybody can do this. Honestly, everybody can do this. This is not difficult. You don't have to have fancy equipment. You don't have to have, it's just a piece of acetate. You could even have, if you haven't got any acetate, which...
Oh, Wendy in Australia hasn't seen that before.
Oh, lovely, Wendy. Now, I did do it for years using the brayer, and I have to say, it's not... You can do it with brayer, and it's really, really good to do it. And Barbara Gray is the brayer queen. Absolutely amazing. Barbara Gray Clarity. But it is that little bit more... You've got to be spot on. You really have got to be spot on, and you can't see it quite as well as what you can if you're using the acetate method, okay? So, now, the thing is with the trees, you could just slightly get away with doing this, you know, without actually reversing it, but we're going to do, because we want to get some practice in, don't we? So just beyond the tree stump, place it down, hold it down, rub it. You just burnt it. You're not going mad. You are not going mad. You are just burnishing it. You're giving it a bit of a rub. Now, I don't use baby wipes like 10 to the dozen, not like we used to do years ago. when we didn't realise that they weren't actually that good for the environment. But I must admit they do come in handy for this, because it does need to be wiped clean each time. If you don't, right, if you don't wipe it clean each time, what will happen is when you're pressing that acetate down, and if you've got any bits that you haven't quite got off from the previous bit of stamping, it's going to transfer and it's going to be a shame. Alright, and you've gone to all this effort. Right, so we're now doing this tree here and this tree. So now, you know when I said to you before about remembering the sequence of how you put the trees down, this is why, because what it's going to do is it's going to give you a complete mirror image of the actual. Ah, now then, look, I had a hair there. How annoying. Never mind, doesn't matter. We'll pretend it's a creature in the water. I've got a vivid imagination.
What is it, a snake?
Right. I do hope it's not a snake, because you know full well I don't like snakes. And Wendy in Australia, I bet you see him all the time. Ooh. That's why now, right, I'm going to point this out now. That didn't stamp correctly. That's no good at all. So I'm going to take that off. Do it again. It's talking about snakes. I've got a real problem with them, even on TV. Right, let's do that again. Do it properly. Oh, it's got a little bit there, but I'm not really worried. I need to pop that down. We'll say there's a bit of snow on that one. There we go. Of course, it's summer in Australia, isn't it? My Auntie Jill went at a very, very good time. How does it feel having Christmas when it's sunny? You see, my brother lives in a sunny climate. He lives in Bermuda. And he's often said that they've been out for walks on the beach and lovely sunshine on Christmas Day, which does seem strange, doesn't it? And then they have picnics and things like that on Boxing Day, and I can't really imagine, even in our mild climate that we're having, that we can go picnicking on Boxing Day. There we go, so it's coming on along nicely. It does a little bit of patience, especially if you've got a big forest going on. But you know, when you first have a go, just do a few trees, just to have a little, just have a small forest. So you can see what I'm doing. I did all the big trees for. What is it about that little bit just there? Just it seems to be the same bit. Do you think there's a bird's nest in it? There's nothing on the stump.
Bird's nest in the tree, is there?
Yeah, I think so. That's what's making the hole in the tree. Right. So, offer it up. Hands down. Burnish it, and then just what I tend to do. What are you laughing at?
Kim's put in, or Kim Robertson, happy little trees, yeah.
Oh, Kim!
Can't remember his name. What's his name?
Oh my gosh! It's
Oh God.
Happy Trees.
Can't remember his name.
Oh, we'll put some happy little trees in. Come on, somebody shout! Who is it? The artist, the oil painting artist. Very, very clever man. Not with us anymore, sadly. Begins with B. Right, so this one, we've got this tree's going over there, isn't it? So
Bob Ross.
that's it.
Yeah.
Well done. Who was that? Points.
Philippa and Kim.
Philippa and Kim. Well done.
Yeah,
Happy little trees.
good old
These are
boy.
happy little trees.
Yeah.
Oh, we often see him on what channel is it? It's one of the funny little what I call the funny little channels.
Yeah, Bob Ross. We love
Bob Ross. We love Bob Ross. But doesn't we always say this? You know, he starts off and you look at it and you think, cool, blooming heck, that's going to be a right mess. You know it's not, because he's so clever.
It's the size of his brushes he uses.
And he just, yeah, it's like you're painting the house the size of the brushes. My goodness me. Now this one, I want to point this one out because this one's over here, obviously. And if you line all your trees up exactly how these
Sky
are.
Arts.
Sorry?
Sky Arts it's on.
Sky Arts, right. That must be a free, we don't have Sky, do we? So it's what, it is one that you can get without actually having Sky, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's it. Just line up exactly how it was, hold it, burnish it, and it soon comes together, doesn't it? Just 3 on this side, and then but you must remember to clean it between each one because of the you don't want the residue from the stamp beforehand, and it's just going to look really messy, and it's just going to, it's such a shame.
The little trees got no nests in them?
At the moment, no.
Oh.
At the moment, no. We haven't quite got, we've only got 2 more to go, so hopefully they've only nested in the
Big trees.
big trees. There, just 1 more. So what I tend to do is, instead of sometimes drying, I just turn it over because that was the side that I've done previously. Just makes it a little bit quicker. Once you get going, you see, you actually soon pick it up, pick the speed up, lift, so hand down, lift it up, and there we go. So at the moment, it looks as if they're not standing on anything, of course. So that's all our stamping just for a minute, because what I want to do now is I need to just move it so I can draw it in. I need to now draw in my bank. Now what you're going to do is you're going to actually draw in the bank on the, and make the bank touch the top trees, so the actual trees and not the reflection, and also the bottom of the deer's feet, okay? Because if you look into, if you go walking down the side of a river and you look at your reflection, you will get that slight like delay before it actually gap. Thank you. I don't know the reason for that. Whatever, I don't know. You can see here what I'm doing is I'm just going over to make it a bit rougher, because it's not going to be smooth, is it? The bank is just not going to be. A little bit round the trees, making the bank a little bit thicker than what it was. Not too thick, just a little bit. There we go. Hopefully it's looking all right. Now we need to put some snowflakes in. Okay, so we've got the little tiny snowflake stamp from the Elements 1 set. So I'm going to put 1 there. Now, I'm not going to do these as a reflection. They do not need to be done as a reflection. You're just going to do a second generation stamp, but you're going to roughly see how far from the top to where you've actually done your snowflake, and then you're going to stamp it. All right, and we'll just carry on doing that wherever you want them to be. So roughly there. Can you see we're getting the same? I mean, the thing is, it's not a piece of art that's going to go in a gallery and be up for millions of pounds. Just there. But if you can get it as near as what you can to realism, it's quite nice. Satisfying, I think, personally. I'm going to go up there, just go off the page there. Now, if you're going to do that, you need to remember you've gone off the page. That little bit may be a little bit inky still, so just be mindful about that. These are all the mistakes that I've made, you see. So I've made all the mistakes before. Just one more, because that's 4 and I don't want 4.
Why don't you want 4?
Because it's an equal number. Right, just give that a wipe. And then the one little stamp that we've got, and then this is just the stars with a little bit of atmosphere going on around the edge. I only want a little hint of this actually, but you've still got to do the same, because you can't just do the top, you do need to do the bottom as well. So that is there, so turn it round, and that is there. So that's it. I'm not going to put any more of that because I think there's enough going on. Now then, just put my lid on now. I don't think we need to stamp a centre, but we'll do that in a second. Right, let's have a little look. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Hopefully everybody else is. So now what we want to do, we need to put a little bit of snow. So this is the chunky white. Now I've got what's left of a Stampendous pot here, but I know that WOW do the chunky white, and also Creative Expressions do. I'm sure that all of you have seen this in one format or another. And what you do is you just shake a few grains. Now if you notice, I'm only doing it at the top. Okay, because why? And why am I just doing it at the top? The reason why I'm doing it at the top is because if the snowflakes landed on the water, you're not going to see them, are you? So I'm just doing them at the top. They're going to dissolve as soon as I hit the water. So because these are loose on the top, obviously we need to heat from underneath. I would say at least a good 3 inches away from the cardstock, or you might get a little bit of smouldering going on. And if that does happen, then you stop, obviously, because you don't want anything disastrous happening. You can always add a little bit more of the snow on, but the thing is, once you've actually, sorry, it's a bit difficult for me to actually, let's see if we can do it like that. It's very difficult. Well, you can't obviously take it off. Once you've actually got a little bit of a melt on it, you obviously can go from the top. That's it, that'll do. So put a little bit on first, and then if you need to add any, you put a little bit more on. I'm just going to add a tiny bit more just in that middle section there, because I feel that got a bit of smoke going on there, so I'll go go. So we've done that. Now what we need to just put the rest back in the pot. That lasts forever if you use it like that, absolutely forever. Right, now what we need to do, we need to actually put the card all together. We need to do the sentiment. So what I'll do is I'll put this card onto my red. Now I am going to use red tape for this one. Okay, because I do want it to make sure, I want to make sure that it's stuck nicely and on the glitter. That glue is good, but I would need to put an awful lot on it to make it stick all over. And if you're going to make all that effort to do a lovely card like that, then you need to really just finish it off nicely. Then of course the biggest problem with this is getting the backs off. Oh, that's quite easy. The wider the red tape, the better it is. We're getting the tops off. I don't have fancy nails, I just have bog standard, because there's no point in me having fancy nails because they're constantly in paint and mixed media stuff and all sorts of things, power techs, and so they'd last about 5 minutes on me. Right, so let's just pop that on there. Everything's nice and dry, so don't worry. I mean, if you want to use your piece of paper to just smooth it down, then that's a good plan. And then we want to just pop that onto here so everything's marrying up really nicely. Just put that glue on there. There we go. Press that down nicely so it adheres to the card blank. And then we just need now to do our sentiments. So I'm going to stay with the same one, peace, love and joy. Hold on, before I do that, I'm going to put a little bit of colour on, because if I do it beforehand, I won't smudge my ink. It's not often I get a bright idea like that, but there you go.
Not this time of night, anyhow.
Definitely not. That's it, lovely. So basically the same colours as what we've used. And then I'll just do that very quickly again. That's it. Take the stamp and pop that down the middle. Beautiful. And just with this little tiny snowflake, just so that it all brings in together, just put a few snowflakes on the little sentiment. There we go. Alright, so our lids on. Okay, then obviously just give that a couple of minutes just to dry off. And we'll just pop that onto what we put on earlier, which is the green from the cardstock and also the red. Just being careful there so I don't smudge it. In fact, we'll just put that on there. There we go. And there we go. That's that finished. And by golly gosh, only a couple of minutes after.
Yeah.
So let's just turn that over and then we'll put it on a... There. So let's bring the original one in. See if we've got anything like it. One thing less. One thing more, not one thing less. I added here, just down the middle. Now I've got... This is the liquid pearls. I've got some... It's coming to the end of this one, and I've got a little bit of air in it, you know, and every now and again it'll just go. So I'm just having to be careful about that. I'm just dotting it because I don't want to really cover over the grassy bits altogether, because I think they make a nice feature. And so that's just a little line going through the middle, and if you leave it and don't touch it, then it will stay a little bit raised. And also I've just got some Cosmic Shimmer. It's the Sparkle Texture Paste. I'm actually out of my, what do you call it? Oh dear, a lot of things I'm forgetting today. Stickles. How could I forget that word? Stickles, and my crystal one. So I'm just using this. It's the same product basically in a tub, and this is what you use just for putting through a stencil, but just use it with your fingers, just popping it onto the trees. So there we go. So yeah, we've got different trees. I've got 3 big trees, 3 little ones here, and then 2 here, but it doesn't matter, does it? It really doesn't matter. So there we are. Hopefully you have enjoyed that. We'll turn the camera around if anybody's got any questions. I'm sure that you've been asking them along the way. Oh. There we go. Just straighten that up a bit. There we go. Hopefully you've enjoyed that. Oh, Pat. Oh, thank you ever so much, Pat. Bless you. And I hope you can have a go. I do hope that I'll see a few of you having a go at this. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Wendy. I just love... Stamping is my thing. As well as getting mucky, dirty and mixed media, but stamping I absolutely love, and I love to mess with stamps to see what we can do with them, and sort of like get our money's worth out of them as well. So hopefully you've enjoyed that, and you have a go, and please do share on the Crafty Friends with Julie Hickey, because you know obviously we absolutely love to see what you make. Now the Christmas countdown is not quite over. Let me get my little bit of paper that's just reminding me. Oh, Wendy, you've learnt that. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, I'm so pleased, because, you know, there's so many things, so many techniques out there, isn't there, that, you know, and some we haven't touched on for years, and then we learn something new, and it's just, yeah, I learn something every day, even though I've been doing it like for a long time. Right, so I'm just going to read this off here just to make sure that I'm correct on timings. So we've got 3 more lovely evenings, and actually I am in the middle of a Julie sandwich.
Hey.
Yeah, I think Julie is sourdough, because that's an upmarket bread, isn't it? It's a really nice bread. So on Wednesday, which is obviously this Wednesday, the 13th, Julie will be in doing a live at 10:30 in the morning, and that will be on here, Julie Hickey Designs. On Thursday, I'll be the jam in the sour bread, which is the 14th. It will be myself again at 7 o'clock. So what a place to be. I know, Philippa. Honestly, when I wrote it down, because I just thought, oh, I'll quickly write it down to make sure I've got the right times, not just, I know when we were doing them, but it was just the times with them being AM, PM and everything. And when I wrote it down, I thought, oh, now then, that's a nice place to be, in a Julie Hickey sandwich. So yeah, so Wednesday 13th Julie at 10:30, Thursday the 14th, which is myself, at 7 o'clock, and I will be doing two nice quick cards that you could really run off quite quickly. So if you haven't got your Christmas cards done, this might be a good one to look at. And it's using Emma Smith's gorgeous Christmas, tiny little Christmas stamps, which I have loved, and I know the design team have loved as well, showing you how to use them in a slightly different way. And on Friday, to close this wonderful Christmas countdown, we've got Julie again, and this will be at 7:30 in the evening. Okay, and that will be a floral Christmas project. So hopefully, fingers crossed, you might be able to make all three. If not, any of them, we would love to see any of you. They will always be on a playback anyway if you can't do morning or certain evenings. But yeah, so it's been an absolutely brilliant Christmas countdown, continuing for the rest of the week, and hopefully we'll see you there. So thank you very much for Philippa, who made the marvellous video. She knows how technically rubbish I am, and she made that gorgeous video, didn't she, for all of us, showing all the timetable and everything. She's so very clever. And of course, thank you for Julie for asking me to come on and have a play tonight. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. Any questions at all, just message us on the site and we will get back to you. And I will, all being well. Oh, thank you, Andreen. Thank you. I will see you on, well, I'll be there on Wednesday. I'll be there on watching the live, and then I shall be here sat at my desk on Thursday, so hope to see you then. Okay, so thank you ever so much for joining, and it's been a lovely, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. You are, Philippa, you are absolutely really, really clever. Compared to me, you're university standard and I'm at primary school. It's a pleasure, Wendy. Thank you ever so much. Thank you. Thanks ever so much, Tracy. I know you're busy, so it's lovely that you can pop in. Thank you, and we'll see you. Thank you to Mark, my floor crew. What would we do without him? T-Man, floor crew. And we'll see you. Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you ever so much. And I will see you on here when Julie's on, and I'll see you sat in this chair on Thursday. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.